The NFL Draft Combine is over, the franchise tag deadline is passed, and free agency is well underway.
That's right. You see those names there? Those are the young men most likely be going first overall. It starts with Bryce Young.
A lot has changed since our last mock draft. Now's the perfect time to share an updated version of our 2023 first round NFL mock draft, this time with trades. Number 1, Carolina Panthers from Chicago Bears, Bryce Young. The Carolina Panthers needed a quarterback, and now they're going to get a pretty darn good one with the first overall pick. Scott Fitterer had to give up a lot, but in return, he'll be getting his pick of the litter. And while there are a few tempting options, it'll be hard to pass on the former Heisman Trophy winner from Alabama. Young may not have the size, but he more than makes up for it with his other skills and intangibles. Let the Bryce Young era begin in Charlotte, North Carolina. Number 2, Houston Texans, CJ Stroud. In this mock draft, Houston avoids trading up for the number 1. They're happy to take the remaining of the big 2 QB prospects, and in this case, it's Ohio State's CJ Stroud. You can flip a coin between Young and Stroud. Both are week 1 starters, bottom line. Texans fans are coming away very happy with the selection, and they didn't even have to give up any extra picks for it. Number 3, Arizona Cardinals, Will Anderson Jr. Arizona is in a nice spot where they can sit and happily take the best defensive player on the board. Questions on Jalen Carter's future, more on that shortly, will prompt Arizona to make the safer pick in Alabama's Will Anderson Jr. J.J. Watt's retirement and Chandler Jones' 2022 departure has left a gaping hole in the Cards' D. Anderson is a one-man wrecking crew who would solidify this defense for years to come. Number 4, Indianapolis Colts, Will Levis. Perhaps the Colts will consider trying to move up to get Young or Stroud, but staying in the number 4 spot and taking Will Levis is not a bad option either. There are concerns about the former Kentucky star after he struggled near the end of his college career, but his arm talent and athleticism are enough to make any NFL scout to rule. If the Colts can develop him properly, they could end up having the best quarterback of the draft. Number 5, projected trade alert, Las Vegas Raiders, Anthony Richardson. The Florida Gators quarterback put on a show at the NFL Combine. In this mock, we project the Raiders acquiring the number 5 pick from the Seattle Seahawks in exchange for the number 7 and number 70 picks. Moving on from Derek Carr and drafting Richardson allows the Raiders to begin a much-needed roster overhaul. Richardson probably isn't a week 1 starter, but his upside will be too high for the Raiders brass to ignore. Hence, them moving on up to get him. Number 6, Detroit Lions. From Los Angeles Rams, Tyree Wilson. The Lions may feel tempted to go after a QB, but they won 9 games last year with Jared Goff. Why not focus on winning now by taking the best defensive player available? Texas Tech linebacker Tyree Wilson and Aiden Hutchinson would give the Lions the best pass rushing duo in the wide-open NFC North. Number 7, Seattle Seahawks from Raiders, Myles Murphy. The Seahawks already traded down 2 spots with Vegas for extra draft capital. Throw in Myles Murphy as their 7th overall pick, and you have the ultimate win-win scenario. GM John Schneider addressed most of the roster holes with a superb draft last year. One more impactful defensive lineman is the last pressing need. Number 8, Atlanta Falcons, Jalen Carter. There was a time when some thought Carter would actually go first overall, but well, a lot's changed since then. There's the reckless driving reports and showing up to his pro day overweight and out of shape. That's enough to bump the Georgia star all the way down to the Falcons at the number 8 spot. This pick comes with a ton of red flags, but it could prove to be a huge steal for a franchise that is in desperate need of a game changer on their front 7. Number 9, Chicago Bears from Panthers, Peter SKORONSKI. The Bears are officially rolling with Justin Fields at quarterback, and they got him a dangerous weapon in star wide receiver DJ Moore when they traded away their first overall pick. Now it's time to get Fields some protection, and that is exactly what SKORONSKI will provide. The Chicago boy can play guard or tackle, giving the Bears some versatility on an offensive line that has plenty of holes to fill. Number 10, Philadelphia Eagles from New Orleans Saints, Devon Witherspoon. GM Howie Roseman should be thinking secondary help here. Witherspoon's stock is soaring after a strong showing at Combine, and he would perfectly fit in as the number 2 corner, lining up beside veteran stalwart Darius Slay. Number 11, Tennessee Titans, Quentin Johnson. The Titans used their 2022 first-rounder on Treylon Burks, who had an injury-riddled, uneventful rookie season. Even if he produces in year 2, the Titans need more pass-catching help for whoever their quarterback may be. The 6'4", 215-pound Johnson is a deep threat who specializes at winning 50-50 balls. His ability to stretch the field would add another element to Tennessee's run-heavy offense. Number 12. Houston Texans from Cleveland Browns, Christian Gonzalez. The Texans used the number 3 pick in 2022 on Derek Stingley. He is a future superstar, no doubt. But hey, why not make this defense even scarier by bringing in another elite lockdown corner? New head coach DeMeco Ryans built a great group of corners in San Francisco. Ryans and GM Nick Caserio just need to picture Gonzalez and Stingley lining up together and call it a day. Number 13. New York Jets, Paris Johnson Jr. Injuries and concerns about his conditioning leads us to believe that the Jets are ready to move on from 2020 first-rounder Mekhi Becton. This is their chance to find a replacement, and Ohio State offensive tackle Paris Johnson Jr. is exactly that. He and 2021 first-rounder Elijah Vera Tucker would form a dynamic blocking duo for Breece Hall in 2023. Number 14. New England Patriots, Brian Branch. This just feels like a typical Bill Belichick selection. He loves his high IQ players, and Branch comes from the golden standard of college football programs in Alabama. The Patriots need to get younger on defense, and Branch's do-it-all skill set and playmaking abilities would give New England a special weapon to help combat against the many elite young QBs in the AFC. Number 15. Green Bay Packers, Jackson Smith-Njigba. We don't care who the Packers QB is in 2023. Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs had a nice rookie season, but the Packers need to continue building that wide receiving core. Smith-Njigba is another guy who is ready to step in and produce right away. The Ohio State star, along with Watson and Doubs, would form quite the three-headed monster at receiver. Number 16. Washington Commanders, Joey Porter Jr. I wouldn't be shocked if the Commanders tried trading up for a QB, but we're not projecting it in this mock draft. Washington needs help in the secondary, and Joey Porter Jr., the son of the former Pittsburgh Steelers star, would fill that void quite nicely. At 6'2" and 198 pounds, Porter Jr. has the size and frame to match up well against any NFL receiver. Number 17. Pittsburgh Steelers, Nolan Smith. Pittsburgh is another team that's in a position to draft the best defensive player available. Smith is a freakish athlete who does everything, and he'd do wonders on a front seven that consists of superstar TJ Watt and rising phenom Alex Highsmith. Number 18. Detroit Lions, Julius Brents. This pick may come as a surprise to some, but one look at Brents and it's obvious why a coach like Dan Campbell would love to have a defensive back like him. At 6'3" and 198 pounds, his length, height, and athleticism, all of which were on display at the Combine, should match up pretty well against some of the more physical wideouts around the NFL. Number 19. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Lucas Van Ness. Death, taxes, and the Bucs taking a player for their front seven in round 1. Tampa fans won't complain though. Van Ness is an absolute beast who could take over as their new leader on defense. Tampa has always been about building a foundation on defense. Yes, they need a QB, but you can't pass up on a game wrecker like Van Ness who perfectly fits the mold of a Todd Bowles coach defense. Number 20. Seattle Seahawks, Cam Smith. Getting Tariq Woolen and Kobe Bryant was nice and all last year, but why not add another weapon to your secondary? Smith might need to be a rotational piece as a rookie, but that's okay. Woolen and Bryant are taking care of the heavy lifting right now. Number 21. Los Angeles Chargers, Brian BRYCE. Run defense has been a problem for the Chargers for a while now. Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack are beasts as edge rushers, but the Bolts need a true run-stopping force up front. The hulking 6'5", 305-pound BRYCE should be able to take care of that. Number 22. Baltimore Ravens, Zay Flowers. Jury's still out on Rashad Bateman. Mark Andrews is a top 3 tight end, but who does Baltimore have when it comes to proven stars at wide receiver? The future answers to that question could be Boston College product Zay Flowers. He is a touchdown machine who had 26 receiving scores over his last 3 collegiate seasons. Number 23. Minnesota Vikings, Deonte Banks. The Vikings used their first 2 selections on defensive backs Lewis Cine and Andrew Booth Jr. No reason to not go defense here again in round 1. They need all the secondary help that they can get, and Maryland's Deonte Banks would produce immediately on a Minnesota team that's hoping to repeat as NFC North champs. Number 24. Jacksonville Jaguars, Osiris Torrence. The Jaguars still have some holes on the offensive line, and you can't put a real price on getting quality pass protection for a young franchise QB. And Torrence and veteran Brandon Scherf could form perhaps the best guard duo in the entire league. Number 25, New York Giants, Michael Mayer. With Daniel Jones extended and Saquon Barkley tagged, the Giants can focus entirely on getting more receiving weapons for their quarterback. Mayer is the best tight end in this class. He's a complete package who provides great hands and crafty route running skills. Number 26, Dallas Cowboys, Jordan Addison. A number 2 wideout is exactly what the Cowboys need, and Addison would fit the bill. This is how Jerry Jones can fix his mistake of trading away Amari Cooper in a salary cap dump. Addison, Lamb, Tony Pollard, and Dak Prescott, this offense may finally be ready for a deep playoff run after being manhandled by the Niners defense in each of the last 2 postseasons. Number 27, Buffalo Bills, Broderick Jones. The Bills could go anywhere here except quarterback, but they do need some fresh blood on the offensive line, and Georgia's Broderick Jones would be a welcome addition for Josh Allen and company. Number 28, Cincinnati Bengals, Darnell Wright. Since his 2022 offseason facelift on the offensive line, it didn't quite go as expected. The pass protection for Joe Burrow slightly improved, but that's not saying much considering how bad they were in 2021. The unit was still a mess last season, and they were badly exposed in the AFC Championship game. Wright, another combine darling, could be the long-term cornerstone in the trenches that Cincy has lacked for years. Hard to think of a better landing spot for the Tennessee product. Number 29, New Orleans Saints from San Francisco 49ers, Dalton Kincaid. The signing of Derek Carr is a firm indicator that the Saints aren't ready to rebuild. They already have 2 studs in Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave on offense, so why not add a third big-time weapon to help their new QB? Kincaid, who averaged 12.7 yards per catch in his final year at Utah, could be that much-needed middle-of-the-field guy and third-down security blanket NOLA. Number 30, Philadelphia Eagles, Antonio Johnson. Ignore the low interception totals. The big-bodied safety excels in coverage, and he doesn't give opposing QBs much to throw to. With 0 glaring roster flaws, GM Howie Roseman can think long-term with this pick as well. Number 31, Kansas City Chiefs, Bijan Robinson. This is an absolute dream scenario for the Kansas City Chiefs, as Robinson would have likely been a top 5 pick if it weren't for the NFL's recent trend of heavily devaluing the running back position. With Robinson lining up in the backfields alongside Patrick Mahomes, this Chiefs offense could reach a whole new level, one that we've never even seen before from Andy Reid's club. But which 2023 NFL draft prospect do you want your team to select? Join us in the comments section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton, and hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.